On the Mark fans, you guys come here to get golf insights. And speaking of insights, I've been watching this man from afar on social media for the longest time, and now we have him. It's Landon Ashworth. Landon, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Better than I deserve.
Yeah, you and me both. Right, before we get into the golf insight, I'm fascinated at you. I watch your social channel. It's a mixture between movie making and TV commercial making, and then golf tips. And you are autistic, and you say golf is your autistic superpower.
I
I-
do.
I'm keen for you to elaborate on that a little bit, please.
Sure. Um, Growing up, I was bullied bad, bad, badly for being weird and different. They didn't really have a name for it. Back then of what I was, my parents were worried about me, so they sent me to a childhood therapist because I didn't have a single friend in the world.
Hmm.
And the childhood therapist said, Your mind works different.
Okay.
Don't really know how or why." This is, almost 30 years ago, 35 years ago, whatever it was.
Hmm.
I'm old. And so they said, if you're getting bullied, the best way to stop being bullied is to fit in. So we think that you should get into acting classes to learn how to fake being normal.
Hmm.
Now, as an adult, I realized that what they were asking me to do was learn how to mask my autism.
Yeah, right.
And so I learned how to act. And thank God my brain worked in that way and acting spoke to me so I could just I got into the mind of every time I went to school from then on out. I wasn't me anymore. I was a character learning how to fit in.
Hmm.
And so it was hard. And so I still got bullied pretty bad, but it got better every time I went to acting class. It got a little bit better. And my only solace um, in the world was this nine-hole private country club,
Okay.
one step above a muni. In my, town of 4,000 people growing up was Carlinville Country Club, and it was the only place in the town that my bullies didn't go.
Okay.
They were at the parks, they were at the basketball courts, they were at the baseball diamonds. If I ever went there, I was going to get beat up and made fun of. So my place of solace was playing Legos in my room by myself or golfing with my dad.
Hmm.
And so golf to me became life. If I was on a golf course, it was like the one place that I could breathe outside and not be afraid that I was going to get made fun of or beat up.
Yeah.
And so, uh, fast forward, and I learned work ethic growing up. And then by the time that I was in college, I never really took golf seriously. It was just where I would go to be outside and not get made fun of. But then I realized, well, I wonder what would happen if I took my autistic brain and actually put that towards getting better, not just trying to, hit geese with golf balls, when I was 12, or trying to skip a ball across a pond, or just trying to juggle. What if I actually use my brain to get better? So, so that's what I did. I surrendered myself to the game, and autistic's hyperfocus,
Okay.
and so I took my hyperfocus from aerospace and astrophysics, and when I knew I wasn't going to become an astronaut, this is a total different side story. Sorry, I
We'll get
studied to
there.
be.
Yeah,
I
we'll
s-
get there.
okay, got it. But anyway, so that's a little fairy dust. Just put a pin in that. When that didn't work out, I was like, okay, well, I need to put my full soul into something else. What should it be other than golf?
Mhm.
So that's when I adapted the mind frame of completely surrendering myself to practice.
Okay.
And for every one round of golf that I would play, I would probably have putted for 100 hours,
You
hit
serious?
hit 300 or 400 hours worth of chips, uh, 100 hours worth of drives. I became addicted to practicing.
Okay.
So when I got on the golf course, if I didn't shoot 65, I was deflated. I
Hmm.
expected to make every single birdie because my practice was a trillion times harder than any golf course that I was ever going to play.
Right.
Like, I'd go to Whistling Straits in the wind and be like, this is what hard is. This is an easy day compared to how hard I practice. Like, this is simple. This isn't hard at all. This is a joke. Like Groundskeeper's Revenge.
Yeah.
That would be my easy day practicing. I would make practice so much harder than golf would ever be because that's the only thing that challenged me. Like, I need to be challenged. If I
Hmm.
see a wide open fairway, I'm like, this isn't even like it's not even fun.
All right.
And it got to that point where golf to me wasn't fun anymore because I knew I was going to shoot under par. There's no question in the world that I wasn't going to shoot under par, is whether or not I was going to beat the course record or not.
Hmm.
And that's where my brain lived. And then golf as a player kind of became a little bit of poison because I stopped enjoying playing golf, and the only thing that I would enjoy was practice because that's the only place that I was challenged.
All right. That's fascinating. You talk about dropping a pin. I want to go back to something you said because look, golf is hard. We all know this.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, yeah, and that's where you're going to help us. But for a lot of folks, when they adopt their own golfing veneer, it's one of being defeated more times than what they're successful. If you talk to most folks watching this or listening to this, they're like, golf is hard. I'm failing more than I'm winning. But you almost in a way took yourself and you used golf as your solace, right? And it was
Yes.
a place where you went and became somebody else through your acting um, lessons and classes and career and such. I'm almost inclined to, and I'm going to make a statement that you respond, that I feel like more people would be better served if in their head they went to a place where they're like, I'm better than the golfer I think I am. I've practiced and now I'm not going there expecting the worst. I'm going there expecting the best. And I know I can do this. Are you getting where I'm going with this? Because I feel like too many folks go in there with this defeatist attitude.
Yeah. So when I get onto a golf course and I step onto number one,
Mm-hmm.
here's where my brain is.
All right.
I think I'm about to go into a very well planned battle. So imagine it's a course that I never played before. Imagine it's going to be uh, Pine Valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, amazing golf course. And sadly, I had to turn down my one invite to Pine Valley, which was gut wrenching, but probably never get invited again. But anyway, but say it's Pine Valley, right?
All right.
I'm not a person that shows up and is like, "Oh man, I'm gonna buy a booklet and see what the course is and ask the caddy, what does this one do?" I've got the course memorized. I'm studying satellite images of the course. I know every single shot that I'm gonna hit before I even show up. And it's the same way that I handle directing big national golf commercials. Like if I'm directing Tiger or Annika or Rory, there is no part of that day that I don't have meticulously scripted.
Understood.
And there's no derivation that I haven't thought about. And that's the exact same way with the golf course. I'm going to do this. What happens if there's a gust? I'm going to do this. And so every single shot I've already played in my head 100 times. I've memorized the course. I know it better than the caddies when I show up. So then when I show up on the first tee, I just look at my golf clubs and I say, you and I are in battle together, and you are my best friends, and you are the only things that
Lovely.
I have.
Lovely.
So I look at my driver, and before I hit the first shot, I say, you're my best friend. Let's do it. And I just treat my clubs, you don't yell at your golf clubs. You don't yell at your ball. You don't yell at the course and the slope. Everything there is a beautiful tapestry that all you're doing is painting. right? So I paint putts. I don't hit a putt. I don't stroke a putt. I make art, right? I'm drawing a picture with my ball. I've already seen this neon line in my head and I'm just painting that picture, right? So golf to me, because my brain is artistic in this way, because I've been trained since I was a little kid to think of life as art, truly, and it became my defense mechanism. Golf to me is art. I'm just out there painting pictures, right? I'm making semicircles in my head. The club head is a neon light that projects a beam, right? So all I have to do is just draw the two semicircles in my swing, and the ball will go anywhere I want it to because I have memorized, after meticulous practice, the exact semicircle I need to paint on the way back and through to hit any shot I want. If I need to hit a dead straight rope, well, I know what that semicircle looks like in my brain. I've
Mhm.
traced it a trillion times. If I need to hit a left to right breaker that breaks 4 inches, I know what that line is in my head. I know how hard to hit it. And that's just because I practice and make practice way harder than playing. So, I directed Tiger and talking with him and hearing his stories, he showed up just expecting to. If he didn't win, something was wrong,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
And I don't care about winning, which is why I have absolutely no aspirations to play competitive tournaments anymore. I just could not care less. If the PGA Tour offered me $1 billion to play on one Thursday round, regardless of my score, I would turn it down without even thinking, because that's not what golf is to me. Golf is about being there alone and executing a game plan. And I don't need to do it in front of fans, and I don't need to do it for money and ruin my love for the game. I get to do it for free.
Yeah, you've said so much there that it's fascinating. I'm going to push introducing you back just a few more seconds and let you respond to this.
Hit me.
Um, you did a very cool. Your entire Instagram page is skits and reels and stuff of little movies you make and their interactions with where you act as your son and you're the father, which I find hilarious.
Thanks.
And there was one where you were sleeping. Again, this is a skit, and you wake up with a start, and your golf clubs are talking to you. And you said earlier, where you like, and it's me and my driver or me and my putter, and we're going to battle together. And and in as much as what the little skit was entertaining and funny, there was a truism to it because most folks are not their own best friends. And most folks are like, I give so many lessons where someone's like, oh no, I hate my 6 iron. I'm like, there's, yeah, I see you shaking your head. Off you go.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so sad for their 6 iron. Their 6 iron should be their best friend. They should love their 6 iron. They should sleep with their 6 iron until it's their lover.
Uh-huh.
There's not a club in my what's your if somebody ever asked me what's your favorite club in your bag?
Mhm.
Yes.
All right.
No, like what specific club?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, all of them. Mhm.
Yeah, like I'm in love with all of them. I'm in love with all of them. Now, the only caveat to that is every single time I go and play and practice, I have a putting. Well, right now I don't because I'm renovating, but I usually have a putting green at my house somewhere. And I have a rack, quite I direct golf commercials, so I take a putter from every single
Stuff. Yeah.
set that I'm on, and I just have this expansive thing of putters, and I'll just start pulling out putters and hitting five putts a piece, and whatever one I feel confident with that day is the putter I use.
Interesting.
So I can use in 10 rounds, I could go through 10 putters and shoot, under par every single one and feel just as confident because it's about what I feel confident with on the day. Clubs are my best friend. The putter, that's a special position of who I go into battle with that day. Because what club do you hit the most of every single round other than a putter? So
Putter.
the putter has to be chosen. The putter, I don't want to be stuck with a putter that's the putter in my bag because you can go to war with that putter. But if I choose the putter, That putter and me are best friends for the day.
Love you.
No matter what it does, it's me and that putter against the world.
That is so cool. Okay, I want to introduce you to folks who don't know who you are. We do have a global audience. Okay, I'm going to read you back some of your stuff. um,
Uh-oh.
149 IQ, you're a Mensa candidate, right? So
Yes.
you're awfully intelligent. You went to Embry-Riddle University, studied aerodynamics, and then you got into astrophysics, and then you decided to pivot and get into TV and film and directing and acting and producing. You've been an airline pilot. Gosh, man, you're like the most interesting man in the world, certainly in golf. Talk to me just a little bit about this life story because I had no idea. You were just the guy with the videos. And then you get
Yes.
to know you. You are a fascinating human being.
Yeah, so everything that I've ever done in my life was to become an astronaut. My great uncle Truman flew the B-17s as into Pearl Harbor as it was being bombed. He was a four-star general in the U.S. Air Corps.
Okay.
And I grew up hearing stories of my grandmother of, your great uncle Truman was, best friends with Eisenhower. He golfed with Arnold Palmer, just these amazing stories. John Glenn was a pallbearer in his funeral. Alan Shepard came to our hometown to hang out. I think it was Alan Shepard. It was either Alan Shepard or John Glenn came and
Either
hung
way,
out with
that's
them.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but my grandmother, he died when I was like young, but she always said he always wanted to be an astronaut, and I'd give anything to have a pilot in the family. So growing up as this bullied autistic kid, I thought, well, what is the one thing that everybody would think is cool? If I was this, I would fit in. So I just associated being an astronaut of I would have friends if I was an astronaut because I had no friends growing up, none. And so I went to flight school and I got all of my jet pilot hours with United. Then I became a test pilot for NOAA doing whale protection missions. And then after that, I had enough hours to apply for NASA. And then they changed their hiring requirements and decided they were only going to hire military test pilots, no civilian test pilots, because they were spending too much money on training or something like that. So I had to pivot. And so I asked my academic advisor, well, what do I do now? And he said, well, they slated a mission to Mars. It's going to happen in 6 years, and they're sending somebody from the arts community.
Okay.
Is there any way that you could go get like an MFA or some advanced film degree? I'm like, I'm going to get an advanced film degree because I spent my life in the theater as this bullied autistic kid learning how to mask my autism. So I studied cinematography and filmmaking and all that stuff. Then they scrapped the Mars mission, which made all of that training useless. So I was like, well, what do I do now? And he said, well, now you got to go get good. You got to go back and get your PhD or your MD. There's no other. And then you're just the shoe in of shoe ins. So I went and studied for an astrophysics PhD. And on my dissertation defense day, Obama put a 10-year hiring freeze on astronauts and privatized the space industry.
No, man,
So,
that's
so
terrible.
all three degrees became useless. So I knew I didn't want to be a test pilot or an airline pilot anymore. I've had too many test pilot friends die, and I hated flying for the airlines, just miserable. Um, I knew I didn't want to teach physics at university. I don't like teaching, and I have crippling social anxiety. So standing up in front of other people was of no interest to me. So I was like, well, I know a lot about filmmaking and acting. Why don't I try to use this? So I moved to Los Angeles the day after my dissertation defense went up in smoke. And I moved on a sailboat next to a casting director. And the casting director said, I'm taking you under my wing. And I want to let you know right now that there is not one single A-list actor that doesn't have their own production company. Start making your own stuff. So I did. Now, what I wish she would have said was start making your other stuff and collaborating with other people because I've built everything that I've had completely by myself.
Mhm.
Because being autistic, I'm very zeros and ones. I'm very black and white. Something is true or it is false. There is no gray,
Mhm.
which is why golf kind of makes sense to me. But anywho, it's game predicated on rules. So I just followed their advice to the nth degree. I made stuff by myself and I put out my own stuff. And then I had a producer take me under their wing, and they said, "Dude, you're making all of this viral sketch comedy. Why don't you start directing commercials?" I was like, "Because I don't know anybody." He's like, I'm telling you, I'm going to help you." I was like, "Oh, okay." And so he said, "What is something that you know better than anybody else?" I said, "There's nothing that I know better. I'm going to direct any astrophysics and bring it back to me." So I did that. I shot a spec commercial in the Gulf in for a Gulf brand, and I showed it to him 3 days later because I'm a relentless workaholic, and I shot it in a day and a half. And he's like, "Okay, you know how to tell a 30-second story, and this is pretty good. Focus all of your efforts on trying to build clients in golf in whatever way that you can." So the only reason that I started Instagram, the only reason was so that anytime I got an ad pushed to me on Instagram, I clicked "it's irrelevant" unless it was a golf ad. And then I
Okay.
and then I'd click on the link and make sure that that algorithm knew if it was a golf ad, it's going to Landon Ashworth. So then, if there was any golf ad that I knew that I could shoot and write better content than what they had, I reached out to the brand and said, "Hey, I direct golf commercials for a living. This lowers your brand value. I can help raise it." And then if it was at the level that I could shoot at, because nothing's better, right? You got to believe in yourself. If it
Mm-hmm.
was at the level that I could shoot at, I just ignored it because they probably already have their team that they're happy with. So word kind of spread throughout the industry of like, "Hey man, like there's this weird kid doing some interesting stuff. If you want to shoot a golf commercial, like maybe like look into this kid, but he's weird. He's a little different." And that's the tricky thing with autism is networking to get in the door. And then once you're in the door, you either really act like yourself and people get inundated with something new that they've never worked with before, a different way of thinking, kind of like that Tiger Woods mentality of like this guy thinks different than anybody
Yeah.
else. And that's the exact same way that I approach filmmaking. And in an industry of status quo, which is the golf industry, the old crusty dudes that are
Mm-hmm.
they're all Augusta, the owners of all of the big golf brands are all Augusta members, and they don't want to show up at Augusta and be like, "Hey John, I saw your new Titleist commercial, really went weird with that one." Like they don't want to hear that.
Sure.
And that's what they don't care about, selling golf clubs in an interesting way. They care about like looking good to their friends, which is so stupid.
Mm.
Unless that's all they care about because they have so much money that they can light money on fire, which some of them do. But at the end of the day, I'd have no idea if I'm answering your question. I'm sorry for the rambling, but all of that is suffice it to say, every single thing that I've ever done in my entire life was to try to become an astronaut.
Well, it's an incredible story and it's very cool. Okay, back to the golf, and I'm going to pitch you back a statement, and I paraphrase that you made. And obviously, you played golf with your dad, and you said in one or other post, you were like, I got down to a three handicap, but every golf lesson I took didn't help me. And you've just told us that as an autistic person, it's black or white, you dollars and cents, you numbers, right? And there's no gray area. I fear, and this is part of the reason why this podcast exists, and I'm on a bit of a mission myself, where there's so much BS floating around in the internet and everywhere else when it comes to golf instruction, because everyone's hopping on the bandwagon. The poor golfers who are aspirant to get better are the victims, and they're suffering because they're trying to do things that aren't necessarily going to work for them. So then you went on this voyage of self-discovery, and you've talked about it already, how you see golf swings, how you visualize shots. And this kind of took the three handicap golfer over the top. Now, I feel like where you are, unbeknownst to you, Landon, because I've talked to everyone from teachers to physical trainers to hypnotherapists to therapists to sports psychologists, the 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 new frontier in golf development is not necessarily technology, but it's really channeling the mind, which you have found a way to do. Now, I want you to describe, because you've sort of brushed past it, and I want to go back there, how You see your golf swing in colors. You see things in lines. You did this cool video where you had your launch monitor pointing at your simulator screen. Then you took this bendy rod and you
Yeah.
bent it like it was the bottom of a swing arc. And you pointed it to the right of the target line and to the left. And you're like, no, my club's going to go up and down this arc. And then you step up there and you had a dead straight shot. And I'm like, surely this is not take one, but it was. So I want you just to just go with that concept, please.
Yeah, so uh, you know, I'm careful about this because I don't want to become. I'm never going to, but I fear of being Rick Shields or Andy Proudman and Pierce Ward and Mark Crossfield and all those dudes that are, those street corner preachers
Mm-hmm.
that have probably helped a lot of people, Sean Foley and all the dudes that have great insight. The problem is none of that stuff works for me because I'm a visual learner. So coaches would try to put me in first parallel and talk about the mechanics of where your elbow should be where. And I realized that I've been I've had an active imagination my entire life. Now, my imagination was a defense mechanism because, if I'm stuck getting beat up and bullied, I need to be somewhere other than that. So I'd escape in my mind somewhere.
Right.
So the only way to escape in your mind when you're grinding on the range to not get bored is to make a movie, right? That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of making a regular movie like Tin Cup, A Legend of Bagger Vance, I made it into a cartoon. And I thought, well, how would you draw a golf swing if you had to draw it as art, right? And so there was this one dude, I forget who it was, but it's the only time in my entire life where somebody spoke my language, and it was kind of an aha moment. And he said, grab this bucket. Now imagine you're slinging paint, right? Where does the paint from the bucket go?
Uh-huh.
And just instantly, I'm like, golf is art. All I got to do is draw pictures. I can draw, I can make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I started visualizing what is if my club head was a neon light, right? Just imagine that anywhere I drew it back, that neon light was going to live forever, almost like a Jedi sword,
A
except
lightsaber. Yeah. Huh?
yeah, a lightsaber. Except imagine anywhere that lightsaber went, it indelibly forever left a neon light,
All right.
right?
Gotcha.
So I just imagine my club head as that neon light, and as I swung it back and then swung it through, what sort of semicircle would that make? Would it make it, would the backswing go out this way? Would it go straight behind me? Would it go inside me?
Hmm.
Inside the line, across the line, whatever,
Yeah.
how you ever want to visualize it, straight down the line if you want to use golf technical terms. And then swinging down is the lightsaber golf club neon beam. Is that coming across the line? Is that laid off? Is it coming straight down the line? If that's how you would, that's not how I think about it. All I think about is two semicircles and how am I drawing them.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that moment, that little aha 10 years ago or whatever, that's what completely transformed my practice, where practice just became about tracing lines and drawing pictures and then memorizing how far back do I need to take the club so I can hit my driver 160, I can hit it 320, and anywhere in between there on command,
All right.
probably
Okay.
within a 5 yard distance, maybe
Mm-hmm.
10. But the reason I know how to do that is because I know exactly where to draw that line and to stop it and where to put that line on the way down to give me any shot that I want. It's, I guess it's mostly akin to my hero, Mo Norman, who is an autistic golfer. And you hear him explain how he golfs, and he just says, and you stand up and boop, there it goes, dead straight. And then boop, there it goes. And that's what it's like when people, recognize me on the driving range or whatever. They're like, Landon, just hit one dead straight. And I'm like, okay, boop, and it goes dead straight. And they're like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, well, you stand here, right? And here you, and then boop, dead straight. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but that's what goes on in my brain. I'm
Sure.
tracing lines.
Okay. There's so much gold there that you've shared. First off, I love the tracing of the arc because it's amazing. If people honestly pay attention in golf broadcasts like I'm in, the shot tracer is changed broadcast. We can all
Yeah.
agree on that, right?
Yeah.
And then if you watch social media, everyone now has an app where the club head can be traced as well. And it leaves almost a little sickle look. In fact, a recent guest on here, the guys from AMG, talked about making the sickle shape at the top of the swing. And now you are describing that with your bucket of paint or with your neon light or whatever. And here's what I know for certain, Landon. If you have a clear picture in your mind, your body is going to come to the party. If you don't
Yeah.
have a clear picture like that, then it's like just reaction to whatever.
Yeah,
Most
you're like,
not
where is
clear.
my elbow
Yeah.
in
Huh?
3D space? I don't freaking know where my elbow is. Like, somebody came up to me on the driving range when I was playing Weekopa a couple days ago. It was the latest video that I just shot and released. But anyways, they came up to me and they're like, dude, what are you doing with your wrist? And I was like, I've never thought about my wrist a day in my life. And they're like, well, what about your hips and like your ground floor? It's like, what are you doing with your right heel? And I'm like, what are you talking? I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't think about any of that stuff. I think about drawing a line. And then all I got to do is just trace a line. How hard is it to trace a line? Watch this. I'm going to trace a line from my nose to my head. Doop doop. Now I'm going to close my eyes. Doop doop. Exact same line.
Mhm.
All I did was just trace a line that I just drew. That's your practice swing. That's the line you're going to draw. Then you go up there and you trace the line. You just shot under par. It's not hard. Golf is so easy.
You know what you just did, and this is something that I preach to many people, and then they hit a few shots and they go better. And the question or the response I get is like, it can't be that easy. Now, this is
Oh
the
yeah.
thing, right? Yeah. So this is the thing because the internet is awash with, you talked about it, ground reaction force, body pivots, body angles, early extension. Yeah, you've heard it all. And for the folks
Gross.
listening on audio, I'm getting a big thumbs down from Landon.
No.
Here's what it is. The golf ball listens to the club face and the club face alone. So if that face is pointing in the direction and swinging in the direction of the target, you are heightening your chances of getting the ball to go there. Simple as that. And this is what you do, and you taking it to a different level by imagining how that club face is traveling throughout space and the distance it's traveling.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Distance and, distance. How far, how long does that line go on
Mhm.
your y-axis is the distance of your club. And then how far left or right is the direction that your ball is going to go. And then all you're doing is just how far do I want to hit my driver? I want to hit my driver 175. 175 is this far back. Okay, and I want to hit a cut. So I want it to point a little left, right about there. Okay, and I close my eyes and I do that in my head. I was like, okay, now all I gotta do is just stand up there and trace the line. And the worst I'm gonna be off is like, I'm not gonna be in the center of the fairway. I'm gonna be on the right side of the fairway. Like that's a miss.
For the folks on audio, I'm smiling like a Cheshire cat or grin. And because I know you folks listening are like, come on, this can't be real. But the reality is, when I see the best of the very best on the weekends on the PGA Tour announcing them, they're not thinking about where their swing should club it and their body and stuff is. They are making art. They are propelling a ball in a certain fashion to get
Well, just
close to the hole.
just Justin Rose may be thinking about a swing. That guy's so deep in his head. We gotta give him a hug.
Yeah, but when he's over the ball, then it's not. It's the stuff before the shot. When he makes
Yeah,
a swing, it's free.
yeah, so I was shooting a MasterCard commercial with Annika Sorenstam. Stop, you dropped this, is my name. But anywho, Annika has that thing, and I'm sure you know Annika, so you know all about her think box and play box,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of just that Annika thought of you think in your think box and you play in your play box. As soon as you're in your play box, your brain better be off, or you are toast.
Hmm. The think box and the play box, folks, are is from Linen Pier from Vision
Oh,
57. Yeah, but it's brilliant because so many
oh, I thought
golfers,
that was Annika original.
well, Annika
She
was
adopted it.
she sort of made them famous in a way because she was Hall of Fame
Oh, I
bound.
learned something.
Okay, you said something I want to go back to where you mentioned all of us instructors and such. And then when you get to a golf course like Augusta National, where there's hills and valleys and nooks and crannies and stuff everywhere, then it's like, well, it's technique, technique, technique. But no, now you got to be creative and you
Yeah.
got to picture your landing spot and hit the ball there and imagine how the ball rolls down the slopes and stuff. So they're essentially asking you, after being all auditory and telling you how the swing should be, to now be creative and visual and stuff. I think you're
Toast.
onto it because you got to, the golfer has to decide how do I learn best? Is it by seeing or hearing or like where's my sweet spot? This is what I'm getting from you, and I want you to confirm, deny, elaborate, whatever you want.
I think that Mark, you made a very, very good point
All right,
that
cool.
there are a million different golfers that learn in a million different ways.
Yeah.
I could explain how my brain sees a shot in somebody with no artistic ability. I could be speaking, Mandarin to them. So nothing's going to work for everybody. There are some people that need to know where their elbow is in 3D space because they're very mechanical.
Yeah.
Some people are very technical. And the greatest golfers of all time, Tiger, Ben Hogan, uh, I mean, I would argue to say that if he didn't have crippling social anxiety like me, Mo Norman would have been one of the best golfers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they are able to blend seamlessly the technical and the artistic.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's what's going to make you great. If you can't do both, and hey, man, a 4'9" dude is not going to play in the NBA. Sorry, like you got to be realistic sometimes.
Sure.
If you are only technical or you are only artistic, you better get real good at mastering that thing and don't waste a second of your time on the technical. Become Picasso or become a robot. Pick your lane.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to become a Picasso robot like Ben Hogan and you don't have both skill sets, you are wasting time. You're being ruthlessly inefficient, and my brain has no time for inefficiency.
Mm-hmm.
None.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll say this to you and let you respond. Back in a previous life, I was a college golf coach for 20 something years.
Cool.
And managing young testosterone laden men would be hard, and so the one day I would see them because they'd get into golf and golf they'd be panicking next thing, and then they'd never play up to their potential. And I could see the mistakes as plain as day. So the one day I'm like, you guys need to have intent and you need to be able to plan where you're going. So I laid out on the driving range, Landon. Now humor me while I describe this.
Please
I sort of,
regale me of your take.
all right, cool. So I threw a golf club over there, and then I put a head cover over there, and I had like a little like a little path, if you would, with different goodies on the ground. And I'm like, okay, you're going to walk around that club, and then you go to your left, and you step over the head cover, and I can see you closing your eyes and you're imagining this. And I'm like, I want you to walk past the golf bag, and they're all looking at this, and then you take 5 more steps, and then you finish right over there.
Okay.
So I see them all looking, and just like you, they got their eyes closed. And before they go, I can see them all with their eyes looking at the things and sort of calculating how many steps is it likely to be. So I send them all on their way. And all of them sort of finished in the same place. All right. Now they might have missed walking around the golf club by a step or two because it was calculation. But because they saw this before they did it, they ended up where they were supposed to be. But if I described them and I said, hey, over there on the ground, there's a golf club, and you've got to walk around that. And then over there to the left of that, there's a head cover, and you've got to walk around that. There's no distance measurement there unless I'm describing it's 10 steps and then 15 steps, then a right turn as such. So here's where I'm going, really. I think the easier way to really get it is to see it, but to see it like you do in a way where you're like, I rarely see it. It's not like I just see it. It's like I see where I've got to get to, and I know I'm going to get there, and then I see it. And this is what you're doing with your neon lights. Man, when you describe that, I can see how it's going, and I'm like, I can go and swing my golf club like that.
Well, that's because you're an artist, for goodness sakes.
No, well, okay. Well, I'm guessing even the robots can see the thing a little bit because
I
the
would
eyes are
imagine.
windows to the soul, right?
That's right. Yeah, there's not very many launch monitors that don't have cameras on them.
This is true.
Even the TrackMan's got a camera on it.
This is absolutely true because, and like when you talk about the neon light, or like on my phone, right? I've got a fitness app, and when I've done all the calories I should, there's the circle that it spins in a circle and it shoots off these like red or almost like little meteor things, and it's all shiny and cool. And I love seeing this thing, and I can see it in my mind's eye right now.
Yeah.
And when you see that, then I'm like, okay, I can recreate that thing, whether I'm drawing it, swinging it, stepping it. And here's where you do it so well, because people think golf is linear. They think in like straight lines. You
Hmm.
talked about it, like the golf swing is a circle. It goes
Yeah.
behind me and up, and back down in front of me and behind me and
All
up.
right. Yeah. Nobody ever thinks about after the ball, like exiting low and left. If that's the one thing that I was ever going to tell anybody, it's like, what am I doing with my wrists? What am I doing with my elbows? What am I doing with my feet? And I'm like, have your club exit low and left, and you will become a single digit handicap in a week. Low and left. That's it. Like if I have to try to speak robot to you, low and left. You're exiting high and to the right or blah, 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 blah. Low and left, low and left, low and left, low and left.
You know what you just remind me of now too, and I'll let you elaborate. Um, as a golf instructor, there are many times where like I'll explain the concept to them, and then if the swing's crooked, I'll put out two beacons. If they
Hmm.
spin across it too much, I'll have one outside the ball. And these are like traffic cones, but small ones. And
Yep.
then one here, and I'm like, swing through the gate. So they're not trying to hit the ball. So they're trying to swing through the gate or not hit the beacons. And all of a sudden they hit the ball. They're like, how can that be? You know?
Because
But
you tricked their brain into being an artist.
I guess.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta slap a robot in the face and be like, here's a paintbrush. Stop calculating.
Yeah. But thinking in 3D. And
Yeah.
oftentimes I feel like the target lies to us a bit because we stand to the side of the ball. So if you know, like you said to yourself on the video, the target line looks like this, and my swing does that on and off the target line, that's gold, man. That is where the magic happens, what you were describing there.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's gold.
Somebody could go out to the range after listening to this, be like, that Landon Ashworth was full of shit.
I don't, you know what? I believe that if you can see it, your brain will send the signals to your body.
Well, I hope so.
Would
I
you
sure
rather
hope
give
so.
up your sight or your hearing if you had to choose? If
He,
you had
hearing, because if I could have have somebody in the passenger seat handle the radios if I'm flying, but if I could never fly a jet or an airplane again, I think I'd die inside. I like flying much more than I like golf. I'm kind of like Mark Hubbard. If you know the
yeah,
PGA Tour pro Mark
I'm well,
Hubbard.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I did a rapid fire interview with him, and I love him so much. He's one of my favorite human beings ever. And I was like, "So you're pretty good at golf?" And he's like, "Golf is like my third favorite sport." And I'm like, I love you. That's exactly kind of how I feel. Because like there's things that I love more than golf, certainly, but like golf, as soon as you're really good at something, people want to pressure you into make money doing it,
Yeah.
right? I can't tell you how many people that I've been paired with that are like, join the freaking tour. And it's like, I can't think of anything that is less appealing to me in the world. Like, I get to make films. I get to play make believe for a living. I get to hang out with Tiger and Rory and make them laugh on camera, and it'll be there forever. Like, I go out and play a tournament, and if I don't get first, I am mad at myself. Like, I'm not gonna ruin golf. I don't have anything to prove there. Like, I want to make some art. That to me sounds much more appealing than playing golf for a living and having to need to win to pay for your Airbnb and your caddy. Like, God, what a terrible existence.
Love you. Honesty, putting it all into perspective for us. Okay, I've kept you for a very long time, and
Have you?
I really have.
Oh,
It's
okay.
been so much fun. I'm gonna now just I'm gonna tickle your autistic sensibilities a little bit. Are you ready? And
Please.
I'm gonna ask you a question I sometimes ask guests. and there's no holds barred here. And we're going to wind up the conversation like this. It could be golf related. It could be not. This could be life related. Golf and life to me intermingle.
Well,
Success.
for you, I certainly would assume you're quite a
Yeah,
famous golf personality, so it's probably every aspect of your life. And for God's sakes, you're doing a podcast.
yeah, exactly. So here
Have
we
you
are.
played Augusta National?
I have.
Ah, you sucker. Okay, keep going. I hate you.
We're going to get you on Pine Valley somehow. Okay, if you promise to be on your best behavior.
No. With me, you get what you get, man. You sign up for the Landon show. I've faked who I am my entire childhood. I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay, all right, here we go.
I,
So I want full Landon now. If you knew something for sure, and you're going to write this on your headstone, or this is a memoir for your kids, what do you know for sure, Landon Ashworth? Audio listeners, he's thinking. He's leaned back against what looks like a closet with his eyes closed, and I can see him imagining. Now I've elicited a smile out of him.
um, everybody is facing a battle,
Yeah.
and everybody deserves forgiveness.
Amen, brother. I love that. Yes.
It, you know, I think about the people that bullied me when I was a kid, and I wonder, what did they go home to? Did they go home to their dad and mom berating them and being mean to them? Did they go home to somebody abusing them? Like, hurt people, and sometimes hurt people didn't get any love. I got love from my mom and dad when I got bullied as a little kid. I got to go home to a hug. Some people didn't get to go home to a hug, and I did, so that's nice. And I found a place that made me whole, and that was a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
And the best message that I ever get on social media is from parents that have autistic kids, and they say, "You make me think that my kid has a chance." And that's because you were honest and open with who you are. And I hid it for so long, and I got sick of hiding it. And I wish that everybody could become comfortable and confident in themselves and forgive and love. God, that is just so hippy dippy, crunchy BS, but it's true.
God bless you, man. Now, that's fantastic. All right, nuts and bolts of this for the folks who don't follow you, Landon. Please share where they can go and find you, find some of your stuff, etc.
Well, I just directed a movie. It's premiering at the Albuquerque Film Festival September 24th at 6 p.m. at the Lobo Theater. On September 27th, it will be premiering at the Catalina Film Festival at 1:30 at the ACC Theater. October 26th at the Twin Cities Film Festival, and I just found out the Soho Film Festival in Manhattan,
Oh.
probably October 24th. I don't know dates or times or anything like that. And then if you want to see me on social media, at Landon Ashworth Directs.
You'll be thoroughly entertained and informed. And for the folks listening with the movie, as this podcast was recorded in 2025. So let's get out there and see it if you're in 2025. Otherwise, look for it. What's the movie's name?
Go on.
Go on. Landon, you're a superstar.
Well, that's a lie. God bless you.
Keep shining, okay?
I'm going to try my best. And if people can't handle it, I'll just tell them to put on some sunglasses and shine just a little bit brighter.